I'm sorry? Whoa! At first, Jasmine, I thought they were mad you were here, and I'm like, wow, that is really mean. But then I realized they were trying to save you from that problem on the board right there. Okay, listen. I have not done this problem, but I got this from a more reputable source. The other problem, I got it off the internet, and it was obviously messed up. And I'm very frustrated it was messed up, but it was messed up. So we made the most of it. This one should not be messed up, because I actually got this from Cambridge. Like, yeah. So let's see here. Go ahead and sketch it real quick. Let's do this. I've never done this problem before. I picked it because it looked tricky. And you guys are all objecting, like, oh, God, I hate myself over and over. Oh. But you think it's nervous for you. I've never done this problem before.
But you're a math teacher.
So what? That makes even more pressure on me to get it right. And I'm doing it with you in front of all the students for the very first time.
And recording it.
Yeah, and recording it.
Well, if you get it wrong, then maybe this isn't the best help for you.
Right, see? That's a lot of pressure right there, Melanie. Yeah. Like this, like check this out. Yesterday, in 5th period, they took a quiz, and everybody in the class, there's 35 people, 34 of them got 100 on the quiz. This one girl made one little mistake. So I made her a new quiz right then on the spot, and I gave it to her. Do you know how much pressure she felt to get 100? Because by the time she got the mistake, she knew everybody else got 100. Because when you get 100, I grade it right then, and if you get 100, I'm going to tell you right in front of everybody you got 100. Yeah. So she knew all 34 other students in the class got 100. And so now she's got a new quiz, new problems, and she's got to do it. And, yeah. Do you know how much pressure that is? Yes. She did get 100. Pressure. Pressure is a good thing. All right. Now, this is a funky shape. But when I read it, it says that the area of the shape is given by this formula. One of the biggest things that you have to do different with Cambridge is that you have to read carefully. If you don't use all of the information they give you, you're probably wrong. So here's the formula. Part 1, calculate the area when r equals 3. Well, that's as easy as it could be, isn't it? Just plug it in and see what it says. Oh my goodness gracious. Good golly, Miss Molly. 5 pi times 3 squared divided by 2. Isn't that going to be 45 pi divided by 2? Like without a calculator yet? Isn't that right? So then, all right. So let's use a calculator. So listen, here's one thing. Every time I get in trouble on a Cambridge problem, and this would be like, this is directly from a test. You see how it shows you the points there were? Every time I get in trouble is when I don't show this. Like I'll plug it in, but I will not show this answer, and I'll just use my calculator and write down my answer rounded right here. So I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. So let's see how this goes. So that's why I wrote this number, and then I wanted to show you what else I write. So I got 45 pi divided by 2 equals, so that's equal to 70.686 to 3 decimal places. So I'm going to write, because it doesn't tell me how accurate to round it to, right? So I'm going to write that, because it doesn't tell me. Do you see why I did that? So here's what I'm saying again, Cyrus, because I know this is kind of weird. I take the Cambridge tests just like you guys take them. And then when I miss something, it's usually because I just plug this into a calculator, don't write any of this down, and write that down, and according to them I rounded it wrong. I rounded it correctly, but I rounded it to the wrong decimal. There's no guidance here, it doesn't tell me. So I just guessed wrong. So that's why I showed all of this right here, because I would have gotten full credit if I wrote that. Do you see what I mean? So write that. Because otherwise I'd lose a point, and I don't want to lose a point. I know how to do the math. Okay. Part B says calculate the value of R when A equals 200. Holy moly guacamole. How can we possibly do that? This seems impossible. I mean, that shape is so scary. Oh my gosh. In fact, I bet that is the shape that scared you when you were asleep in your bedroom by yourself as a small child. I bet that's the thing in your closet, or maybe it's the thing under your bed that if you slept with your feet hanging off the edge, it would reach from under the bed and grab them. It's the thing in the corner. It's the thing in the corner at night that looks funky. It's the thing that creeps around the house at night and makes weird noises, especially when your parents are gone and you're home alone. That's what it is right there. It's that shape. That is a scary shape. Huh? Yeah. This is it right here. How could this possibly be? How could this possibly be something we can do? Do you guys know how to do this?
What did you just plug in? 1 centimeters as the area?
So, right. So this is really easy. It gives you the formula, and then it's just asking you to do stuff with the formula. So look, it says the area is 200, so you're going to put 200 for the area. So I'm going to do that up here. 200 equals 5 pi r squared divided by 2. And it said, calculate the value of r when a equals 200. So all that means is solve for r, right? Make r the subject when a is 200, right? So what's our first step going to be? Multiply by 2 and divide by 5 at the same time. Can we do both? So I can multiply by 2 and divide by 5 at the same time. Should you reduce? Yes, for the love of all that is good and holy, reduce, please. How many times does 5 go into 200? What's that? 40. Oh, you were saying the total answer. So this is 80. Look how pretty that answer worked out. 80. Isn't that nice? Equals pi r squared. Then what? Huh? Oh, pi, not 5. Divide by pi. So I'm running out of room. 80 over pi equals r squared. Then what? Square root. Okay? Like, this wasn't printed off of a Cambridge test. If it was, they would give you a lot of room right underneath here to show your work. And that's what you would show. Okay? Now I'm going to use my calculator. Use your calculator at the last step. You don't use your calculator until all of the algebra is done. And once all the algebra is done, then you use your calculator. Otherwise, you're going to have rounding errors. Okay. So the square root of 80 divided by pi. Do you see how in the calculator that's the parentheses group this inside the square root? Do you see that? Very important. You got to make sure that's the way it works. And that equals 5.0463. I rounded it to the thousandth, which is just kind of silly. No, 10,000. Anyway, so I'm going to write my answer 5.05. And again, the reason I did that, Hector, is because I always get in trouble when I write this on the paper, but I don't write this, and then I rounded it in a way that they felt was unacceptable. And it's not mathematically unacceptable, it's just they said you should have done it different. Whoever wrote the test. So we good? Was that hard? Was that hard yet? No, that's easy. That's so easy a caveman could do it. It's just, oh, the shape is just terrifying. I know. It should be. You should be afraid. Because after it grabs your feet, it's going to pull you under the bed, and it's going to attach itself to your face and suck your brain out. Yep. Okay. What about this last one? Make r the subject of the formula. That's easy. 5 pi r squared divided by 2 equals a. You actually just did that right here. You just did that. You just did it right now. Except it was 200, not a. So, go ahead, try it. Go ahead. right? You guys were all horrified, terrified, petrified. Innards were jellified. You were scared. That's S-K-E-R-T. Scared. You were scared of this problem because of the way the shape looked. Which is funny because I chose the problem because of the way the shape looked. I knew the topic was okay. I mean, it was along with what we were doing. That's why I picked it, because it looked difficult. But it wasn't. So you can't freak out, Melanie. Like when you see a problem like that, you just gotta calm down. Calm down. It will give you everything you need to know, and I promise you that my job is to make sure you know how to you have all the skills. You will have all the skills that you need to answer these questions. It doesn't matter if it looks scary. Just gotta relax. So, do you remember, George? Do you remember how I told you like why it's so important to be confident? Because if you're not confident, as soon as you see something scary, you're like, "See, I knew I was dumb. I knew I could never do this." Because you're looking for confirmation as to why it is you're going to fail. Whereas if you're confident, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, that looks kind of scary, but I got this." And look, you do. Isn't that hard? I bet if this was on a quiz and you had not seen it yet, I'm 100% sure that the confident students would have gotten 8 points, and the unconfident students maybe would have gotten 2 or 3 total. And it's just the confidence, because the math is easy. Okay. Amen. Huh? Yeah, yeah, right. The little alien, the brain-sucking alien lives inside. All right.